Welcome back to another Eat Like a Man. Today we're going to do my new go-to for pulled pork. First, go start a fire, because shouldn't all great recipes start with the phrase, start a fire? You don't need to watch that whole process, it's going to take a minute. Alright, fire is lit. I'm going to try the snake method, where the fire lit there and it's gonna go around and bite the tail off the head of the snake or whatever. But now I need to get my butt ready. That didn't sound right. This is just your average, ordinary, run-of-the-mill 9.5 pound butt. Sharp knife. This one's already been trimmed. I don't have to trim it, which I wasn't going to do anyway. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to score it down to the meat, through the fat. And little scores here. Oh, there's fat under there. Nice. This butt is room temperature. Get a nice checkerboard pattern here. Some of this stuff. This is just a binder, just to help the rub stick. If you don't like mustard, don't worry, you're not going to taste it. If you do like mustard, don't worry, you're not going to taste it. That should do it. For the rub, there it is, butt rub. This is just paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. And you can make your own in your own ratio, but this stuff is a bargain compared to what you can make on your own. So I'm all about making my own stuff, but it'd be about 15-20 bucks worth of spice to make a container this size, and this is $6, $9 maybe, I don't know. Use up this one first. Get it down there in all the crevices I made. What all those cracks are going to do is going to let the fat render through. Fire's established. I'm going to take this. Alright, you can see we already got some smoke going. I got a water pan under there with no water in it. I'm going to use some of this. About that much, because that's all I had. I'm going to fill it the rest of the way up with about 3 cups apple juice and 2 cups, 3 cups water. And that's going to smoke for at a fairly high temperature for about an internal temp of about 120, 140, about where you'd normally wrap it and leave it for another 4 or 5 hours. But this is only going to take maybe 3 hours. Right now it's around 2:45 in the afternoon right now. Way too late to start a butt, but this is going to be done before dark. Promise. It's been about 20 minutes, maybe. Hovering at 315, 320. It's a little warm. It's okay. One at about 275, 300, which is hot for smoking meat, which is the idea here, because we want this done fast and we want it to be good. So I'm going to babysit this a little bit. That's one of the downsides of using just a regular old grill to smoke. It requires a little bit more babysitting. Normally I use this big guy here. It's a gravity smoker. It's expensive and it is very inefficient. It's very hungry on the charcoal. This method here, this guy here, not inefficient at all. I can make it run all day on that little bit of charcoal you saw in there earlier. I'm gonna let this go mostly unattended for about 2 hours, roughly what it'll take. It won't even use up all that charcoal, even though I'm running it hot. Keep my eye on the temperature a little bit. Gonna hose it down every so often with a mixture of apple juice and water, just a bit, kind of make a crust. The idea here is we just want to throw as much smoke into it, render as much fat out of it and into the meat, into our drip pan as possible. That is my theory, my method, whatever you want to call it, behind what I'm doing here. We'll keep checking up on it, and I'll take you guys along with me. Been at that for, it's now 4 o'clock when we started. What we started at 2:45. Been at that since then. Spritzed it a couple times. Let's take a look at this thing. That's getting close to what we want. That. So I'm gonna probe him. Ow! Ooh, right into the bone. There we go. See what this reads. That's cold. Bone. There we go. That's more like it. I say another hour and that'll be ready to pull off. Let's keep going. I think it's time to get this thing off of there. Crank the heat up. That looks amazing. Just poking. See how hot he is. 127, that's plenty. Now for the tricky part. Got this guy out. I'm gonna take my knife. I'm gonna cut him all the way down to the bone in chunks. I bought this pot because it's aluminum. I was afraid my my normal pot I do this in would be too heavy for the grates. Now I got another issue. I need to get that out of there and into there. To do that, I'm going to use that. It's supposed to be an injector, but that'll work. That's going to take some time. I'm not going to make you watch. I do need to show you though. This, that's one big onion, one big clove of garlic. And I'm just going to take that and dump it in there. And then I'm going to get as much of that juice out of there and put it in there as well. And I'm not going to make you watch because that's going to take a while. All right, had a bit of an accident. This is a lot more floppy when it's half full of liquid, and I didn't give myself an adequate landing pad for it. And yeah, I lost a good bit of it. Fortunately, most of the fat and stuff stayed in, or a good bit of it. It's going to wind up draining most of it off anyway. But some minor burns on my feet because I'm wearing sandals like a dummy doing this stuff. Anyway, keep going. Didn't lose all my juice. It's a good thing. Fresh charcoal. I was hoping to do it all in one bed, but there really wasn't a lot in there to start with, so it wasn't going to be able to crank the heat high enough for long enough. Now we can turn to our next couple of bits. I've got the onion, the garlic in there, the juice that I managed to not spill in there. It's about where we want it. It's a little more than a third of the way up the side. So we're going to add apple cider vinegar, about a 1/4 cup. Measure carefully. That should do it. And to recap, what was in there before is fat drippings, apple juice, and some water to boil it off. There wasn't as much boiled off as I'd hoped. Next, some of this stuff. It's supposed to have whiskey. It's supposed to put whiskey in there. This is bourbon. It's the cheapest stuff they had that was a name I recognized, so that's what I went with. I'm not going to use very... That should be good. We're going to carefully measure some of this stuff in here. Nope, not going to try it. Not going to try it. And we're pretty much going to let Brownie in motion do most of the heavy lifting as far as stirring this stuff up. And hopefully there's enough fat in there, this thin pot, to, I'm not going to use the lid right now. Now we're going to braise this for a couple hours. So I'm just going to take, wow, that's hot. Turns out when you put a lump of meat, it's 9 3/4 pounds, in an aluminum pot at 123 degrees, it gets hot. So that's gonna go there. Lid's gonna fit, I hope. And we're gonna crank the heat. I mean, really crank the heat, because I want this to braise hot. And the idea is to get this tender, smoky, flavorful, and done quickly. It's now, I don't know what time it is now. Started at almost 3. It's just after 5. So about 2 hours, we'll let this braise. Come back, put the lid on, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. 400 degrees. That should be plenty. What if you don't have a grill? What if you live in an apartment and can't grill? What if you don't have a grill big enough? A little grill, you can do this. Just buy a smaller butt. Make your own jokes. You can skip the entire get it hot over a smoky hot fire and skip straight to this braising part and braise it in your oven. Everything's the same. Just braise it in the oven and add some liquid smoke if you want the smoky flavor. Not gonna judge you for using liquid smoke in that circumstance, freak. But you don't have to have a grill. You can skip all of the smoky grilly bit and go straight to braising. It's gonna be amazing. This is just a shortcut to get, just instead of leaving it on a grill for all day, basically, low and slow, we are gonna shortcut that. We're gonna cheat it by braising it. It's gonna be fantastic, trust me. And braising it outdoors, I'm not heating my house up because it's freaking hot out. 86, I think. I'm not gonna complain too much about that. The UV was very intense today. It was like lasers burning my skin. But this is gonna sit, like I said, 2 hours, and then we'll show you what we do next. About an hour into braising, I flipped it over, sliced it some more, gave it a sneaky taste. Let it cook for another hour, and it's ready to pull. You can tell because of this bone right here. When it comes off of that bone, nice and clean like that, it's ready to pull. So I'm going to grab a plate and throw, I'm going to grab something to throw that on and let it rest. And then we'll carry on from there. It's not having an instant replay of earlier. Yeesh, that was scary actually. Oh, it's coming apart. Okay, so the bone pull's not perfect. That's good enough for who it's for. Still a little bit of meat left on there. Some good stuff right there. I'm gonna wrap that in foil and let it rest. And that, you gotta let it reduce. There's a lot of good flavor in there. I guess since I spilled most of the fat, it's not a big thick layer of it. That red is on top is all the fat. And I should mention that if you're doing this just in the oven, use the butt rub as the seasoning. Just dump it in there, stir it up, and then you'll be fine. I need to let that boil down a little bit, turn into a syrup, and then we'll go from there. Ow, hot. Alright, it's reduced. Supposed to be slight now. It's almost a syrup. Actually a bit too reduced. That's okay. The spillage caused me to lose quite a bit. A little incident I had. But that's okay. Probably worked out in our benefit. I'm not going to drain any of that fat off since I lost most of it. Now, I'm going to shred that. It's still steaming. It's too hot to shred. I'll do it anyway. I've got these guys here. Set them, getting my digits. And I'm just going to pull it apart. That's all I'm going to do. And you can see my smoke ring there. See it? Ooh. Folio party. So I'm going to get into that, shred that, and get back with you once I'm done with that. Get out of here, Scamita. Alright, it's not quite where I want it, but it's going to have to do. It's really still too hot. I'm going to go ahead and take this, dump it in my braising juice, reduced braising juice. Get every little bit out of there. Just going to get in there and get all that goo incorporated. Getting all the gross bits out. Bits that you don't want in your sandwich. By the way, if you're doing this inside, don't just, yeah, Mom's gonna get mad. This is still really hot. Ooh, I don't know what that is. Get all the stuff off the bottom of the pot. Looking for gross bits, looking for gross bits. That's a gross bit. That's a really gross bit. Attached to a good bit though. It's getting there, it's getting there. Some of the bits aren't ready to go. Those are the bits that are right in the middle, right on the bone. All right, that's good enough. Gonna let it rest for half hour ish, and let all the juices, they're gonna settle out. Then when they come out, we're gonna do it again and unsettle them out. All right, I'm calling it. This is done. That's done. Get a piece of that. I was gonna go really good on a sandwich, and I just realized forgot my hat and the cayenne. Forgot the cayenne. It's gonna lack a little, but it's not gonna break it. It's pulled pork. It's a massive shortcut. Started at what, 2:45, 3 o'clock, and it's just now 8. I mean, got 40-50 minutes of light left. It's basically foolproof unless you're a fool like me and drop half of it. But yeah, pulled pork shortcut. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. I want to check this cheap pot out. Hopefully I'll get some good use out of it. I didn't even bother taking the label off. I just cleaned the inside before using it. It's gonna get a nice patina on it, but check it out. I figured that label would have just come right off of there. Yeah, too funny. I got this idea off of Brian Lagerstrom. He did a series. If I remember, I'll put the the link in down below me. It's a new day. Pulled pork's ready to consume. It's cool. It's all out of hair, all gelled and gelatinized. Problem is you can't eat that by itself. You gotta have something to go with it. And what do you have? Get out of here. Missed. What do you have with pulled pork at a barbecue? Potato salad. So we're gonna do a potato salad. Got the oven going. Just need to cut these guys up. Chunks about like that. I think this cameraman might be better if I gave him a raise. I'm gonna cut these about like that. And I'm not gonna make you watch the whole process. Got them all chopped. Gonna throw in olive oil, about that much. Gonna throw in kosher salt. That should do it. I need onion as well, but that's not gonna get cooked. But I think since I'm gonna cut all these up anyway, kamikaze! Missed him. Might as well cut the green bits. Might as well cut the white bits off and roast those with the potatoes. Why not, right? Why am I doing it that way? What is the matter with me? Ah, it's burning me. Yowza. One roasting pan. Put the roasting pan into the oven. Gonna let that get hot. Want as much contact with that pan as possible. Gonna lid these. Doesn't quite fit. It's all right. We're gonna roast those for 20 minutes ish at 400 degrees ish. It's not a precise scientific instrument, that. And while that's doing, I want to find something else to do because I've been going all day, and we'll be back. All right, that's going really quick. Too quick. I thought I was going to have to take this inside of the oven and make that sacrifice, but they're softening up really nicely, and I've decided to add some moisture in there to steam them up every so often. This seems to be doing the trick, and your battery's dying. All right, those are done. They're nice and soft, crispy. The onions were a mistake. Those are going to set. They need to cool completely. Now I need to move on to my next trick. Let's put this guy on. And this is going to hit that. I was expecting more sizzle. I can clean up and reset. Bacon bits are done. Had to clean up, a bit of a reset. We'll chop those up real quick. These guys have cooled. Nice and soft. Wasn't as much as a fail as I thought it was. Still, I roasted really quickly. Battery died. Dumped in my potatoes. Dumped in some of that. 2 spoonfuls of that. And 2 long farty squizzes of that. Bacon bits and chives, scallions, green onions, whatever you want to call them. Now I'm going to do some of that. I'm going for the really fine stuff at the bottom of the bag, and I'm going to kind of crunch it up some. That should do it. That's how you do a potato salad. Loaded baked potato salad. yeah, that's how you do it. And for real this time, thanks for watching. You guys have a good one.